Can I full screen it? Hold on. What is this? Like, yes, thank you. Okay, there we go. Just do borderless, it's fine. Do you remember what happened? I remember a rich girl. I remember a rich girl who had, she was the culprit, and skip text. Wait time. What is wait time? The length of time until the next line of dialogue is displayed in autoplay in story mode. Subtitles on, text skip. Okay. Should I play with a controller? Doesn't really matter to me. I'm sure it's fine. Okay, cool. Select adventure or just continue. Start of episode 2. Okay, let's do it. I'm not reading all this, by the way, so this will be a group activity from the two of us, all right? Sound good? Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band.
In a corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The speckled band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which you referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
Like a snake? The 9th of January, 6:37 a.m. On board of steamship Buria. Buria? Hello. What is this?
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality.
What is this?
This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
What?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait.
Shh. That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder. And in cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Sherlock Holmes. I presume you must have heard of me.
Okay, he's kind of awesome. Okay. Ugh, my head is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Where am I? Wait. I can't move. Why am I in handcuffs? That's a good question. So you wake up now, Hello. We had to drag you out of the wardrobe. I don't believe how you could not wake up. You're a true cold-blooded man. Me? We found you, and now you pay. Criminal! How long have you been hiding in that tiny wardrobe? Now you have been found. It's time for you to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is. I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Yes, that's her from earlier, right? Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Huh? Wait, what did you just say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma? You pretend you don't know. You're a wolf in sheep's pelt. You're the killer. Don't try to make excuses. Huh? Kazuma-sama was... His body was discovered not long ago. Here, in this very cabin, that was bolted shut from inside. His body? Please, do not try to tell us you were doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead. But he can't be. Is that his best friend? And these handcuffs. Surely you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please. No. I mean, I'm not gonna do all that. Wait, do I have a... Oh.
No!
Wait, that's the wrong one. Wait, no, don't I have a better one? No! Wait, where's it at?
Whoa!
No. I thought I had a different one.
No.
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 Oh well.
No!
Where's Shadow's no? Do I not have it? Oh, I guess I don't have it. Oh. Yikes. Wow. Okay. Oh, here it is.
I'm the coolest.
No, that's not it either. Yeah, okay, well. 2 short weeks ago. Yeah, I thought we were just chilling. Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble? Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? It really was something else. When they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case on the floor. I thought I was going to die. Yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look. Hey, honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Britain. 50 days?! But if you confine yourself in my cabin here, don't expect anyone to discover you. I don't expect anyone will discover you. See, that's how I get crew in America. Put in my suitcase. Ah! Okay, I get a feeling these Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? For my faithful judicial assistant, Mikotoba, you mean? From your close friend, more the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. Anyway, it's about time that steward is supposed to come in and clean the cabin. So hide in the wardrobe? It won't be for long. And compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it should be a breeze. Okay. Why don't you write keep out or something on this piece of paper? Then I can stick it over on the wardrobe doors once you're inside. We've only been at the sea for about 15 days. How could this have happened? We're supposed to be going on this adventure to England together. Together! We leave you at next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer. No, I'm not a murderer. You said before that you admit everything about your crimes. No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on this ship, but murdering my best friend? No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. Well, that can't be right. Susato-san. Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask you too. Ugh, those eyes. She looks ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened. Yeah, what happened? Can't anyone tell me what actually happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone. Please, whatever you say, you were here in the cabin after all. Well, yes, I was, but... He would always wake before dawn to do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin, as I have every day so far in this voyage. No, you're getting this posture, okay? Either I sit here and read, or I get in the right posture and don't read. But this morning, he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at his cabin door, I wonder? So, I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside, there was Kazuma-sama collapsed on the floor. And the white tape there shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything had happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe. This is all very hard to believe for me too, trust me. Okay. He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream. And these handcuffs. They think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? When I found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There is no access to the cabin via the porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from the outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? This is impossible. How did he die then? What happened exactly? Are you still going to deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? Please, Susato-san, you have to tell me. The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died? The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course, he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we can learn more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call. So presumably that means there were no obvious signs of external injury then? That's true, yes. Now I've told you everything that I know, so it's my turn to ask you a question. Yes, alright. Stowaway. Why are you even on board this ship, Naruhado-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yes. I'm afraid that's true. It's been 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing? No, that would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you. But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself. I don't understand. Kazuma, why do you want this? What is the real reason? Why would you go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? It's an idea that's been in my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I found somebody who got a quick set of notes of what happened in case 1. John Watson Wilson bites it frame 1, killed by Giselle Brett. We never find out her motive, but Ryusuke successfully defends himself with some last minute help from his future judicial assistant, Sosato, so that Kazuma can go to London to study abroad while Runo tags along. Okay. Interesting. I think I told you then, didn't I? That you ought to become a lawyer yourself? Well, yes, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious. You have a talent for it, I can assure you of that, but I never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development. It's the center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no. Definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then what? Nothing. Forget it. Kazuma-sama he was always saying the same thing, that he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you. Yes, maybe. But something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes, then. It was darker than I've ever seen it before. Tsusada-san, I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. My stowing away on the ship, I mean. If you know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right, yes. It's perfect, in fact. Let's see what happened last night. If you're not the culprit, then tell me, what happened last night here in this cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I fell asleep? Well, yes. So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed? Well, yes. I know it sounds unbelievable, really, I do. But it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. And for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Could you have gotten poisoned? Really? Is something wrong? Oh, no, it's... Please, forget it. Is there some sort of... sleeping gas? Tsusada-san, you have to believe me. I didn't do it. I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there's no one else who could have possibly done this. Ugh. Is that true? Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? Ugh, I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry, but Kazuma was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. And now I'm supposed to just sit around and my hands tied while whoever does this walks free? No! I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do then? I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life and how and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. Hiya! Oh. What the? That was a Susato takedown. Susato what? I'm going to need you to prove it. I'm sorry, prove it? Yes, you're innocent. I need evidence. But how am I supposed to... Have you forgotten already what you just achieved a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. I see. She's expecting me to present some conclusive evidence. What do I have? I have to get Susato-san to believe me. Show her some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this crime. How would you be able to put the sign on the door if you were stuck inside the thing? You can see the remnants of glue we used to stick this over the wardrobe doors. Although it wasn't proper glue, of course, we didn't have any of that with us. So I pulverized some rice into a paste to use instead. But to a stowaway like me, every single grain of rice represents precious rations. That's why I spread it as thinly as I possibly could. I couldn't bear to waste any.
Yes!
Yes! What is that? Yes!
Yes!
Yes! Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes it was. I remember it clearly. I thought so. Kazuma always puts it in place whenever I went to sleep in there. Let's see. Just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same thing last night as well. Yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. But if I were truly the culprit, I could have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato-san. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up? Yes! Well, in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here at least. Thank you! Okay, now you believe me? I'm sorry, no. What? I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you used some sort of conjuring trick to put that sign back into position. Hello? For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright. Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Oh. I shall be watching you, to make sure you don't do anything that might disturb the crime scene. I will want you using your conjuring trick to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating here, examining everything I can. Okay, here we go. This is nothing up here? Let's check the bed. It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time? Naruhata-san? Could there not have been, like, somebody under the bed? I think living isn't quite the right description. Oh, no. I suppose not, although it must have been rather exciting, making this voyage in your own secret hideout. The trouble was, I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So yes, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. And last night was no exception. But because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin. No, sadly not. Oh dear, that won't do. Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself focused that I forget to look around properly. Yeah, that's not good. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruto-san? I'm sure you're careful to look all around using left and right, aren't you? Now let's investigate all corners of this cabin. Yes, let's do that. What's up here? A vent? I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. Could there have just been some toxic gas coming through the ventilator? A hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Is that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, it looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear to. You're right. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it has to be connected to the outside, or it should be connected to the outside. That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough, or something like that? I suppose, maybe that's it. This is a bell cord contraption, I think. What do you mean contraption? I read it in a book that I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can use to pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Shall we give it a try? Yes. In the interest of culinary research, cultural research, obviously. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people, huh? No, I'm sure it's just everyone is busy, that's all. Okay. What's this? No. Are you sure? Okay, what about this? No? This isn't important either? Oh, when there's a highlight on it, I see. Okay, good to know. Well, there certainly is a lot to... Okay. Share doesn't matter. This is where dear Kazama-sama would have sat whenever he was writing. What was the last time he wrote? London Diary. Or Kazuma, my god. He didn't even make it to its destination. It looks as though his last entry is incomplete, which means, what? He was in the middle of writing when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. It could be a valuable clue. Hiya! What? That is out of the question. Huh? Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. But what if it's something important? Like something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. Poor Kazuma-sama. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either, but in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? Well, if you say so. That's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought aboard inside that case. Ah, yes, I see it says "this way up" in Japanese, which in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewman wouldn't be able to read. It was turned over and over and over, and then I was tossed in here, on the floor in here. Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than a Susada takedown. Did Kazuma write that before he died? It looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked down the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. Then I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of clue in his final moments, wasn't he? Sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san. What? Then what language is it? It pains me to admit it, but I don't know. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? Oh my god. Who's that? As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be European. Oh, how did he... Why did she say looking? She said, huh? Huh? I have no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious and tall. Suspiciously tall. Naruhodo-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Well, no, I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And he's investigating Kazuma's desk. Or is he playing it on? Wait, is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we must simply talk to him. Am I imagining it, or does Susada-san almost look uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case, if you press A on people when they're hiding in crosshairs, you can converse with them. Okay? I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. Oh, please do. Well, before I do that, there's still a couple of things I think I need to look at, right? What do you think this is? A bell? A broken piece of glassware. Whatever that thing is, it appears to have been broken clean in two. This glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Nitsuke fastener on a kimono from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this with him around with him, would he have? And the mark beside it, what is it, I wonder? It's sort of a brick-like hue. Yes, you're right. It's the color of brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything the same color anywhere else in this cabin. These are the rules of passage for travel abroad, the SS Burya. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabin. Pets are strictly forbidden. Pets. What? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry. I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, it wasn't supposed to be in here. The books have fallen over the shelf. Look, they've all toppled the same way. And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well. Yes, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked and everything was mowed down at once. I wonder if perhaps it was Kazuma-sama's doing. Wait, Kazuma-san doing his morning sword training, do you think? Probably not. Then perhaps it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage. I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Well, I don't think that... I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess. We'll see what happens if it has anything to do with the ship moving. What's happening here? There's nothing on this table at all. The plate and cutlery are all over the place for some reason. It's strange. Last night when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still... No, wait a minute. What is it? That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all. So, then perhaps you are responsible for what happened to Kazama-sama. No. Maybe it was something you ate? What is that? That's my dinner from last night, a roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat it on the floor here? No, I'm not a dog, Suzawa-san. I ate at the table, of course. Which begs the question of, when and how did the plate end up on the floor? But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it, which meant all the more for me. Oh no. Does that mean Kazuma-sama spent his last night on this earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Ugh, now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. Doesn't like chicken, huh? Seiji? The Japanese word for justice. The brush strokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet you, can you really look at these characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on the ship? Ooh. Now you're gonna bring that up, are you? I can't win. That's Kazama-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yeah, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip. I suppose that shows... Oh, he did bring a weapon on board, didn't he? That is a weapon, isn't it? I suppose it just shows how important it was to him. And now he's gone. But I'm not really ready to let his spirit go just yet. No weapons allowed on board. Everything was sprawled to the left. There's some things that are fallen over to the left as well. And what's this supposed to be? I'm sure the crewmate is going to be not helpful at all. When I went for help and the crewmate forced when I went for help and the crewman forced the door open. This bolt had been firmly closed. It is quite a small bolt and not particularly sturdy, and it just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel, the culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt from outside the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself, but the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. Sure, what do you have to say? Perhaps I just see what this Russian crewman makes of the scene of the crime. Excuse me. What? I was wondering how it's going. The investigation, I mean. Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it is not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking the investigator for information about his crime. Very funny. Oh, it wasn't supposed to be a joke. He doesn't appear to be laughing either. He's convinced you're guilty. He might have useful information though. I have to keep trying. So last night, did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? Night, of course not. Now go back to the corner of the room and make silent. I say no more to you. Did I hit a nerve? Just for a minute there, he seemed a little flustered. Excuse me. Excuse me? Do you have a moment? Shh. This is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Oh, he's gone. Greetings! Wait, hold on. What do you say? What do you say? Greetings! I hope I haven't kept you long! What exactly were you doing in Kazuma's desk just now? I see! Fascinating! Sorry? What did you see? It feels like he's looking right through me. Oh yes! Everything's clear now! The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, what? Anything in a British accent. God damn it. Connecting with your roots. And now, whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you found yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least. But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Pick a different accent, Avi can't run. Wait. Okay, hold on. What do I have? Australian? Perhaps. You've managed to do something else? I can't really do Australian. But I can't do it, sorry. I'm not comfortable with it. A great many things, but there's no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being as you are a merciless revolutionary. You have 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And when the beribboned occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you're talking about me. Is he talking about me? I certainly am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin who's 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person who fits the bill. So it is true. It was you who did this, Kazuma-sama. What? And you're plotting a revolution too. It's shameful behavior, Naruto-san. Absolutely wicked. No, listen. There's no way Hiya! Oop! Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. Why do we Seinfeld? How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a revolutionary, obviously. Oh, forgive me. As for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. But was I not right? Whilst adventuring towards foreign climes, did you not find yourself in the most troubling predicament? Do you not? Well, yes, maybe. Ha! There you have it. You see? What do you make of that, Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it deduction, more like a plain observation. Indeed, an observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles. You see, I announce my findings with a brasserie certitude. And more often than not, I'm right. I don't think you introduced yourself. My apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The inimitable Sherlock Sholmes. So, it really is you, the actual Sherlock Sholmes. The very same, the inimitable, actual Sherlock Sholmes. Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world, Naruto-san. Of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on then? We must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Great detective? So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I am none other than the one, the only, Sherlock Sholmes. Oh, I see. You're German. Sherlock, was it? No, I have no air. I mean, I have hair. Please call me Sholmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh yes, Rancid magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have sent it from England. I have it sent from England, especially. Ah, yes. Here it is. The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories, then? Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories, you started to think you really are a detective. Make no mistake, I'm not the poor, deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backwards. Backward? My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer, do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? Uh-oh. I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. Why, this very moment, I'm returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really, I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you see. It to me is a science, logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of the muscle, a slight inclination of posture, fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin, all these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth, as I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can you look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have a turn, both for observation and for deduction, and fame. That is what makes me the one, the only, Sherlock Sholmes. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything? My dear fellow. Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious about Kazuma-sama this morning, I summoned all the crew members to force his cabin door open, and I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective Sherlock Holmes was on board, and the handcuffs seemed to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, 2 facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh really? 2 facts, you say? What were the 2 facts? Mr. Holmes, tell us please, what 2 facts were apparent to you when you first came into this cabin this morning? Ah, yes. But first, let's be precise. 2 facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand, but what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The 2 facts that I had deduced merely from a short momentary glance at the scene of the crimes were as follows. Number 1, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number 2, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Well, Mr. Jones, what makes you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. That is the Russian word for wardrobe. Do you really think that Kazuma-sama left a dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian. Kazuma was Russian, was he? Initially, I considered garderobe may be the name of the killer. A certain Robert Guard, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong to not look inside the wardrobe in there at least. Where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly. Quite so, I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is traditional dress of the Russian people. Our school uniform is the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea. And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message, that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yes, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes, thank you. The photograph of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that? Ah, yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? Certainly, if it interests you. How many times? I'm not Russian and I don't speak Russian. Can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean? The now famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in? Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part. Ah yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads, Revolutionary I'm sorry, Russian spies, don't kill me. Bolshevik flees Russia in Shanghai via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call to Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. Your 5 minutes of no accent are up? Oh, nice. It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian based on what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor.
It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. The one who killed the very man who helped him escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, Valen Bolshevik.
No, how could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face.
Well, you're a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, I have no doubt to revolutionize your appearance as well.
What did I do? Ugh, please.
And might I add, your name does not appear on this ship's passenger list. Need I say more?
Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower.
Oh yes, the journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all these particulars in the articles. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far, and those he's plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake.
Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder? And what about the part where you said I was returning from Afghanistan?
Also quite clearly stated in this article, Bolshevik is recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan.
Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place.
Here, take the paper yourself as a little memento for this great deduction.
Oh, thank you.
I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby.
The article about the revolutionary has been entered into the court record.
And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well.
On the back?
Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret.
It's all written in Russian. I can hope to read it, but I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruhata-san? Well, no, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting. I can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I, but look at this picture. Perhaps it's a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? She's very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know, I can't make any sense of it.
Oh, I'm glad you noticed this article. Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents.
Oh, thank you. He pops up everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes.
It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova.
Why are Russian names so hard to remember?
It would appear the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles.
Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure it must be an unbelievable sum of money. Susato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves.
The tiara is the property of the Novich Valet, It would seem the director is beside herself with worry.
Yes, I'm not surprised.
The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They've requested international assistance in all ports with sailings to Great Britain.
Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. The article about the ballerina has been entered into the court record. Anything else? What does the magnifying glass do? What were you investigating? Let's you read small text. Okay, before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma? Oh yes, the victim. I'm enough British for now. Did you see anything useful, anything at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of his trip. But I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've already read it? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, I believe it. Believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. Susato-san? Aren't you gonna throw the detective with your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belongs to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author was cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray, be precise as to the details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, my dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, Mikado, Nado Nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. Ha. But this diary is littered with complicated looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. So what was that showing about before then? If you'd be so kind to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes. I'm much obliged, my dear madam. The final entry here in Kazuma's diary consists of two short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like to be some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Speckled band dangling from the ventilator grill. Well, that makes sense. That's why he had a headache. He has to have some sort of like sleep aid or some sort of poison, some sort of toxin, right? A speckled band. What on earth does it mean? And if he doesn't have any signs of trauma on his body, what's to say that we couldn't have just gotten, I don't know, poisoned in here? And if I was stuck inside the wardrobe, then perhaps there's a certain level of toxin that I inhaled that he didn't. Therefore, that's why he's on the ground with no drama or with no trauma to his body. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe he was choking and maybe he fell to the ground and in his last moments he wrote down that message, I guess. Yeah, maybe there was just some sort of toxin. I have no idea. I haven't heard that expression before. Maybe because he was sealed inside the wardrobe, that's what prevented him from taking from inhaling too much of the toxin. And he said he had issues remembering things too. So if he's having a neurological issue as well, that's what's to say it's not some sort of poison. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice up there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. His diary has been entered into the court record. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least. Do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe. And if I'm still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose you're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to? Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exhalation. Whatever that even means. What did you just say to me? Mental exaltation. Yes, I intend to investigate, hence the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated. What? But why? A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No? There's no point in trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such thing. Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said that. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know? Not really. So what were you looking at my knees before? Well, huh? Well, anyway, that was the then and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you're the culprit, then you must play the part much more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Now he's just being rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Naruhado-san, what were you standing there for? We must go investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? After Kazama-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just gonna roll over and accept your fate? As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigations to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. The situation does not look good for me, but there are still things that I can do to help myself. And I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this. And bring the real culprit to justice. Is something wrong, Naruhado-san? Oh no, it's just that crewman standing by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Yes, what can I do for you? What are you doing here? I recognize that face, but it can't be. Ahem, ahem. It is! I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosanaga. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. nearly stopped, I hoped. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew aboard this ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. Is there anything I can do? If there's anything I can do to help, please ask. I never expected to see this man on board, but perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. Well, first, is there anything that's recontextualized? Doesn't look like it. Okay. Special orders? So, what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? I'm so sorry. I guess you can't go into it. I guess you can't go into the details. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asugi-san's bodyguard. It was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asugi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. That's very specific. Assassinated? How could that even been a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jikoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated? Obviously, we can give Asugi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off of him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. But I never imagined it could have happened here, inside his own cabin, not here on the first class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asugi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector. So if there's anything at all I can do to help now, just say the word. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma-sama's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer? Of course not. We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you moved to even touch the handle of the cabin's door, that stormy-looking steamer over there would surely snap your neck in two. I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason as to why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how. There may be a way. Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruto-san, by presenting me with a piece of evidence you had already had in your possession. Evidence? It's just the same as you were in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hasanaga could use. So evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin? Okay. What do I have? What could I present? His diary? Seems like the easy one, right? What's that? That's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote, what looks like to some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? That is strange. Yes, we're trying to work out what he meant by that, but what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. The ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin. That's right, so if we could investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove these handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asugi-san safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment, Naruto-san. Just select a move and we can leave this cabin at last. Move. Alright, let's see what we can do. How are you liking the game so far? Or this time around? Much better. Reading out loud does take a lot of energy, though. How long have I been reading? For an hour and 20 minutes? Jeez. Okay. It's the same day, an hour and 48 minutes later. Okay. Ugh, I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be. And this is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Do I talk a lot? How do I talk for hours? Now that I think about it. Hours and hours. Doesn't my voice get tired? Maybe streaming is exhausting. I don't know why. Like, sometimes I end stream and I'm just like really tired or like really exhausted, but I'm like, all I did was just sit around and play games. Maybe talking actually is exhausting. Huh, I never thought about that. Okay, anyway, yes indeed. Kazuma-sama was being sent on the study tour by the government. That's why he was being put in a first-class cabin. Okay, so here's what I can okay. So we're supposed to go to we're in turbulent times with the law. We need to go to Great Britain. So he was taken. He was put aboard this ship to go to London. I guess to represent Japan, or to jumpstart his lawyer career. He had a secret bodyguard escort along the way because the possibility of him being assassinated was a real one. In our cabin, I was a stowaway, and I stayed in the entire time, and nobody knew I was around. I was in the cabin, hiding, hopefully being protected by a sticker on the door that said, "Keep out." The night he gets murdered, we eat chicken, and then we don't remember what happened after the chicken. Okay. maybe he wanted us, maybe he writes wardrobe on the ground. So maybe he wanted the wardrobe to be checked so that we could get oxygen or whatever. Maybe he knew that the wardrobe was airtight and he put wardrobe on the ground so that we could open the wardrobe and maybe get fresh air for me. Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, maybe he knew that something was gonna happen with the air filtration, and if there's an assassination attempt, that'd be a good way to do it. And if there's anyone first class would be indicative of somebody who has money or influence or is significant in some way, and therefore somebody that's more likely to be tasked with doing such a thing. So perhaps he was poisoned. It has something to do with that purple thingy on the ground. And maybe it was a situation where it was some sort of like neurotoxin or something. And he put me in the wardrobe. He carried me and put me in the wardrobe, because if he carried me into the suitcase, then clearly he has enough strength to lift me. So maybe he lifted me inside the wardrobe so that I could be airtight. And maybe he sacrificed himself because he knew that we couldn't both fit in there and it was airtight. And that's how he set up the situation. He set up the situation so I would be protected, I'd live on. He wants me to do something in his stead. So he put me in an airtight wardrobe container. He put the sticker on top of it. Maybe as a way to boost my innocence, right? I don't know. Interesting. Okay. You're also keeping up a level of energy that you may not, but you might not otherwise. I guess it's a myth. That makes sense too. Like if it was just me, I would be sitting here quietly, not saying anything. I do not speak for like multiple hours at a time, like 12 hours of just not speaking to anybody. I guess that's fair. Yeah. I should hydrate. Give me a second. Okay. I think my deductions make sense. Or they're making some sense at least. The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band. Was it a snake poison? A snake toxin? A toxin? A snake? A snake bite? I think poison's involved. If there's no trauma to the body, then clearly, and if there's no blood, then it's poison. Like what else could it be? Like it's toxin. Like, there's no way, right? Because how else do you die, right? If there's no trauma to your body, it has to be poison. Is that too binary? Do you show signs of being choked? If he's airtight, there's a possibility that he would have suffocated in the wardrobe. He could have... Okay, maybe it's not airtight, but maybe it's less oxygen, maybe? How else do you die with no evidence to your body? Yeah, because you were choked, you would... Pillow to the face? That's not traumatic, is it? Well, no. Well... Does that even work? I see that in movies sometimes, where you just see somebody put a pillow on somebody's face. Is that actually like... Well, no, because then you would see bruises. plastic bag? I don't know. Yeah, I'm assuming poison. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay. Kazuma-sama was being sent on the study tour by the government, which is why he was put up in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Really, that must be awful. Oh, look over there. That's another crewman keeping watch. And he's enormous, even if he's sitting down. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose. Like people in handcuffs? Naruhado-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already. Well, yes. I know, but the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard, and ever since then I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please, don't give me that pitying look. Excuse me, but can I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer. That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? You little third-class maid. Wait, lady's maid? Oh. We seem to have caught the sailor on a bad day, Susada-san. I'm not a sailor. My mother gave me a name. I'm senior crewman Biff Stroganoff. Biff Stroganoff. Biff Stroganoff. Fucking goddamn it. Biff Stroganoff. Ooh. The best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. Mr. Stroganoff, about this first-class cabin area. Here we are in the finest part of Berea steamship for very important persons. What sort of very important persons? Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret, many important persons. That's why I'm always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in the ocean. But Stroganoff is not animal. Thank you. If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Asugi's currently occupied? Ah? Susada-san, did you understand that? It sounded like da. I think it's probably Russian for yes, or no? Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, it sounds like there's somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it's tantalizing. Could you tell us who's traveling in a cabin next to Mr. Asugi's? His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. Grimsby Roylott. Grimsby Roylott. Grimsby Roylott. Okay, he's a very important Western gentleman. Western gentleman? Don't think about it. He has nothing to do with the murder of the student boy. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lovely student from insignificant Far East Islands. Well, that was harsh. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard? That is not your business. Kind of think of it. Even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there was anyone there. Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important. Isn't that right? That is not your business. Are you on watch here all the time? Seaman Stroganoff? Duh, all time. So criminals like you cannot come in or get out. I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all? It is sad about Student Boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. And did you not notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? What? Tsusato-san, did you understand that? It was clearly a no. I saw nothing unusual, nothing at all. And you didn't hear any strange noises or sense anything was wrong in some way? I said no. Sorry. I'm not so sure. I could have sworn he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. I mean, something happened, right? This is enough. I cannot say more for now. Oh, it is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes, all right. Bulkhead to second class area is staying locked at all times. You escape when lobster whistles on top of the mountain, or as English would say, when pigs fly. Yes, I understand. Good. Now we can investigate the area properly, shall we? Definitely. That book on top of the table really is huge. There's a pin with it too. Yes, I'm sure that's the ship's log. I need this. Let's have a look through it. The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and steady sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. Anyway, look here. Last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. Are they trying to hide something? It seems like both crew members have some sort of something they don't want to talk about. Okay. That's the way to the second class ship. I was thinking about making a run for it. Just for a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me. I might be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door, that burly seaman would surely shoot you dead. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far there. No, I started it with my talk of running away. And there's no way I could run away while Kazuma's death remains a mystery anyway. Was this the ship's plans? I guess this is important. Okay. The Berea is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, that's a really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. It is. Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? Yes, they're not metal, but they're enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than this ship. And they don't sink, do they? We've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. Well, I suppose so. Yeah, that didn't answer my question, but okay. An alarm of some kind? What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? That is the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says, press in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets the alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh, this I have to see. What are you doing, Naruhito-san? You mustn't touch it. But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. I wish everything would just stop, this ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it so it doesn't affect everyone else. What's this? A trap for catching mice. Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Let me see. Yes, I think that is what they call cheese. It's made from the milk of cows. Cheese? I wonder if that's what it tastes like. No, I wonder what that tastes like. You can't eat it, Naruhito-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really? But... yeah, I suppose you're right. You weren't actually going to try it, were you? All I've had to eat in the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later. This is this number that's our our cabin. Okay, no, it's Kazuma's cabin. A cabin. Your accommodation is confined to the wardrobe inside the cabin. Okay, great. These cabins are the finest on the ship. My own cabin in the steerage is number 539, by the way. 500 and... how many cabins are there? Okay, last thing. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote, he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever is in this cabin can help solve this particular mystery. Let's ask. Maybe he got bit by a snake? A Western person? American? A Western person. Oh. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries. How annoying. What was that? It came from inside the captain. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Stand aside. I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Sholmes. I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't. Then how can I deduce... wait, then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What, pray, can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. The 9th of January. What time is it? Who are you? A Western gentleman? This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there is nobody in here but me and this captain. True, this old man does appear to be the only person here. But in that case, who just screamed? Get out, all of you, now. Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimsby Roylott, I believe. Yes, that's me. And you are... I'm the one and the only actual Sherlock Holmes. You've heard of me, no doubt. No. I'm the great detective among great detectives. One who adorns coppers or popular magazines, no less. So surely, you must trust me completely. That man uses the magazine like a business card. A detective? I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So might I be so bold to ask you to open that small traveling case? Don't be so stupid. How can anyone fit in a small trunk like that? Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk. Don't look at me. Oh my. Did you just see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, the case just shook. Leave, now. Otherwise, I'll call the steward. So this is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimsley Roylott. There's no doubt about it. This strange Russian man is hiding something. I could not agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before the burly Shayla returns. Bitch! This whole room is gonna take 10 years! This whole room is gonna take 10 years to investigate! Oh my god! Okay, let's see. What do you think you're doing? Oh. This is my cabin. Get out! Could we just have a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps? No! Oh.
No.
What a pity. I think we're out of luck. I think you're right. There doesn't appear to be anything more we can do. I agree, but there's someone else who can help. Perhaps the great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylott. Mr. Roylott, we'd like to talk to you about something.
No.
Oh. I don't want to talk. Leave my cabin now. Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes? You need only address me as Sholmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes. What were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed, I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of deduction into service. Oh! And it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, no, actually, you're spot on for once. Observe closely. Our Russian host and his captain, Mr. Roylott, is clearly trying to hide something. I mean, yeah, look at his body language. Why does he have this coat on and it's not even cold in here? What's in his pocket? And do you know what the most effective weapon is to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Why, the truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for Russians. Right. Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it? Oh, yes, please. Well then, what you're about to see may well astound you. For I'm about to apply my greatest detective's... Wait, my detective's greatly admired... Wait, what? My great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. I wonder if that newspaper in his pocket has anything to do with it. Could this man be more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I may ask? What? From time to time, it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness? I really don't think either of those should be occurring to you or anyone. That's right, and Mr. Sholmes, I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but I once read It is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment. I must have complete silence. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? It's just that I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind. There is no other explanation that can accommodate for all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you're about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn. You are, at this very moment, no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize that you've been discovered. Does it not? No, how does it? I never would imagine I would have witnessed one of Mr. Holmes' great deductions with my own eyes. That was a great deduction. Nothing can deceive Mr. Holmes. At a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person. What? What an ineffable twaddle. What ineffable twaddle. Oh yes, I've read about it countless times in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, and now I've experienced the astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand. This is like a dream come true. I need to do my dailies. Can I go condense my resin real quick? 1 second. I need to condense my resin real quick. Okay, let me grab this real quick. It won't take me long. Give me a second. If I see you, Genshin, I swear to God. Okay. Oh my god, I'm capped out on resin. Ooh, help me. Oh my god. And I'm running out of crystal flies too? Dang, I need to play Genshin. I haven't been playing Genshin at all. Hang on. Okay, one last thing. Okay. Okay, alright. Got it. Okay, I'm good. Alright, got that out of the way. Okay, we're good. And it looks like I'm missing a lot in our Hoyo chats. Some big news. Okay. All right. Oh my goodness. Ooh. Okay, got it. All right, anyway. All right, back to Ace Attorney. What happened? Okay, cool. What? Okay, I can't believe it, but the color has drained from Mr. Roylet's face. It looks like somehow both of Sholom's conclusions were right. How could you? How could I possibly know such things, you wish to say? Very well then, I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So I do cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together. The great deduction! The game is afoot! Old man's identity. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylet, obviously, what catches the eye in the first place? How hidden he is? Well, the scissors. The enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring at us right in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Now, moving on. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylet? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular the fascinating front page article, which would appear you have also read, Mr. Roylet. You look like the guy in the front page. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is your article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary Villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, Violent Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. Okay. Wrongdoing. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are at this very moment on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And that proof of the crime is over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylet. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. And I assure you that eyes speak much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. Hi, Ben! The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, the traveling case. That has some sort of living thing in it? That's not supposed to be here. There's supposed to be no pets. It is time, I think. The case be open and its contents laid bare. Are you about to shear a dog in here? No, I refuse. What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation. A young lady, perhaps? One slight enough to fit therein. Don't be absurd. And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me, we are not well suited for a life of crime, are we? Your careless Coupe d'Eoli betrays you. I need translations. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can equally be found in the pages of the newspaper. Is it the lady, the girl? The ballerina? But there's another most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeting revolutionary to the back page, renowned prima ballerina of the Novich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can only lead us but to one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. Kidnapping of a young ballerina. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma. Elemensky. Coupe d'Eoli, a glance that takes in a comprehensive view. I see. Susato-san, that wasn't one of the great deduction I've been hearing so much about, was it? Well, the stories are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different somehow. Okay, Mr. Sholmes, could you come over here for a moment? Pray, what can I do for you? It's about your deductions. Would you mind? Not at all, go on. Well, to start with, there's this newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing alike from each other. Yes, I recall a discussion earlier, and at the time, I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary. Well, able to revolutionize his own appearance. In fairness to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Roylett does look more like this man than you do. That's not the point. And another thing, about him abducting the ballerina. Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman. Not at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You have to be lucky to fit a 5-year-old into a case like that, even if you push really hard. I don't suppose a missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she? You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15. No, I didn't know. How could I? Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would be poking out from the case. Some years ago, I read something pertinent. My God. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain litheness in their bodies. Vinegar? For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself to the confines of that small case. Oh dear, you might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Sholmes. This whole thing is turning into a circus. Mr. Naruhodo, something occurred to me about Mr. Sholmes' deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of the matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seems a little off. Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Mr. Sato. It's just one or two key words in his deduction that seem to let him down, so I was wondering if we might perhaps tactically switch them for alternatives. What do you think? I mean, switch some keywords in his deductions. Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure if we could do that, we'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Sholmes' great deduction. Precisely the thought I was going through in my own mind. This man is a lot of work. At times, I wonder how anyone puts up with me. It's not that funny. And you, my good fellow. Sorry? Take a moment to look at your wrists. My wrists? What happened to my... Where did my handcuffs go? Huh? How did... I felt they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction. I don't believe it. Mr. Sholmes, you are a marvel. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we are finished. I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this. So, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. The old man's identity. The revolutionary on the run. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylet, obviously what catches the eye in the first place are those shears, right? Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer is, of course, staring us in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the beard. Probably not. I'm not sure. Do you think he'd really use shears like that to cut off a beard? I doubt something like that. That's something I'll ever have to worry about. It doesn't quite sit right with me, though. Okay, which means I suppose the deduction is wrong. Let's try to switch a keyword here. I think we should start by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Roylet. What he intended to really use those shears on. Definitely not his own body. Cut the paper, maybe? What could he have been trying to cut? Not the beard. The thick hat. The hat does make sense. It is thick. Not the buttons. That doesn't make any sense. Golden locks. Oh, he has long hair back here? That would make sense. You're not a guy at all. Is this a woman? Is this the woman? The woman is hiding her own identity? The ballerina. That would make sense. What is this? It looks like a cascade of stunning golden locks. The color is not the point. The point is, what is it doing on the back of Mr. Roylet's head? And how is it growing out from underneath this thick black hair? Well, yes, that's true. It's suddenly beautiful and stunningly surprising. Something's definitely not right here.
Yes!
Oh,
Yes!
You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport. Indeed, you have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man. You're not a man at all. You're a woman. Very much so in her youth. Huh? Oh no. If only I had managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. Your identity is the woman on the back.
Yes!
Oh.
Yes!
The evidence that reveals her true identity, of course, is the article about the ballerina. Yeah, that's right. You hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear that we are finally able to address you by your true name. Yes, because your identity is that of the Novovich Ballet's prima ballerina, Miss Nicola Pavlova. Get up! Oh. And where's the tiara? Why do you got hook ears? Or hook hair, what? You're right. My real name is Nina. I mean, Nicola Pavlova. But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone. Beyonce! Really a rage? Isn't she in Guilty Years? Now, as for my second conclusion, you are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime? Over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, the people have a prosperity to let their, propensity, my bad, to let their eyes stray, you see. Where's that tiara at? And what kind of, did you bring a pet on board? You brought a dog, didn't you? You brought a pet on board, and where's the tiara? This woman is the ballerina, and she's right in front of our eyes, so clearly she can't be traveling inside the case as well. No, that's right. It seems like she wasn't abducted at all. Which means, what is the crime this young woman is apparently committing? What does she glance at that convinces her of it? It's the key. It's the tiara. There it is. It's the tiara.
Yes!
Oh.
Yes!
The proof of your crime is surely this tiara. This tiara was worn on stage by the dancers in the Novovich Ballet, is it not? That's what I was looking for. Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, and it's an item worth 20,000 rubles, in summary, the crime you committed is theft. Oh no. Yes, you left your ballet troupe, unlawfully taking their precious tiara with you. Oh no. I have no one, no family, no friends. I'm all alone, and I need money. But I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an Earl of Prussia? It belongs to me. This girl is only 15 years old, and she's a runaway all by herself. She must have been extremely lonely. All right, I will tell you everything. There's no point in hiding it now. Come, come, let us not be hasty. What? There remains one unsolved mystery about you. Mystery? What do you mean? What's in the case? You have staunchly refused to open up this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude, therefore, that there exists some reason why you wish it to remain closed. Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear girl, is there no sense of playing games? There's no sense of playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case, even before I have laid eyes on them. Dear me, we are not well suited for a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'oeil betrays you. We only need to follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written on the books on the shelves. He's completely changed tack with his deduction now. He's adapting his logic to the changing circumstances, don't you? Yes, but why the bookshelf? A wild guess. I know why she didn't open her case. I know why she didn't open a case. She went to it's the sign. It's the rules. It's the ship rules. No weapons and no pets.
Yes! Yes!
Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written on the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Inside that case of yours, something forbidden from carriage is on this vessel. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or dangerous item would move on its own accord. Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova. Inside your traveling case is a cat! Or a pet. Is the last item forbidden on this rules. Forbidden on the vessel's rules of passage. A pet. Deduction complete. Elementary. Well, that dish leads me to believe that it probably is a cat. Maybe she's letting the cat drink from the dish, I guess. You're clearly not who you said you were. No, I'm not Grimesby Roylott. My real name is Nicola Pavlova. Everything you said was correct. You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances in order to escape your homeland. Later, that same night, you stole aboard this vessel, which couldn't have been easy. Maria's a huge steamship with a vast crew. Could she really have snuck on board without being noticed? Into first class? In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman, and you intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yet to a woman, a hair is no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is to leave well alone. So if it was just you about to cut off your hair, who was it that let out the scream we heard from outside the cabin? That veritable tingling of a bell? Why, none other than this young lady, naturally. More like a full set of pipes, if you ask me. I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they'd come looking for me. That's why I decided to, how you say, disguise myself so that no one would recognize me. As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable old man? I see. I put on the fur hat and fake beard. And then just before you came in here, I saw in the newspaper, right on the page, there was a picture of me. I was so frightened. I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew that if I didn't change my appearance completely, they would find me. So why were these things just available to you in here? So I decided to cut all my hair as fastly as possible, so I picked up the scissors in my hand and... At that precise moment, we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door. Things like that happen sometimes, don't they? Things do indeed happen like that, from time to time. Are those two even talking about the same thing? There's just one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? You were right, it's my dear friend inside, my only friend in the whole world. Please, Don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, if you say any of this to the crew, your secret is safe with us, I assure you. But in return, you must tell us, in as much detail as you can muster, about the events of last night. Yes, all right. I will tell you. Well, Mr. Naruhodo? Wasn't it something, Mr. Sholmes? Great deduction? Oh, it was certainly something, yes. I'm just not entirely sure what. But at least Pavlova, Miss Pavlova, has agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible. Indeed, it is incredible. And one more thing. Oh, yes? What? Observe your wrists. Your hands are cupped again. What? But how? True to my word, I have restored your shackles. When and why? There is still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry to say, it can't be helped at the moment. Can it really? Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I have to find out what the speckled band that Mr. Kazuma-sama wrote about in his diary. Now, before I do, don't touch. Fine. Yeah, what even happened last night? Did you know that somebody was killed in my cabin next to this one last night? One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast. The man who died, he was a friend of mine. Oh, that's why we're trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night? Perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example. Perhaps people talking? Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest. Perhaps its steam engine exploded. Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that happened. Miss Pavlova, is there anything you can tell us? I don't know. I'm sorry, but all I could think about last night was what I had done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me. Oh, I see. Great. You've run away from your ballet company, haven't you? The Nobovich Ballet? Yes. I am traveling to Great Britain, and from there, I want to go to America. I will never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. I want to start a new life. You risk to forget, a challenging proposition. When you have that striking tiara as a reminder. But the tiara is mine. I need it to live. I have no money of my own. The Nobovich Ballet gives us only a little food and water, and we must dance all over the world. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I stayed, it would have killed me. So you ran away to protect yourself? Yes. And the crew of this ship, they have all been kind to me. They let me come on board, and they said I could hide in this cabin. If that is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova, then it creates a most intriguing conundrum. Yeah, you're in cahoots with the crew. You're in cahoots with the crew. The crew made a mistake. The crew is trying to hide something. You're a Westerner. A Westerner is supposed to be in here. Yeah, who was supposed to be in here? And why were they down with that? Yes, it does. What do you think about it, Mr. Naruhodo? Me? Oh, well, yes, of course. I think we should hear her explanation. What conundrum? I'm not sure, but... Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. Now, that being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. However, the SS Berea stopped at no port last night. That's it, of course. So how is it, pray, that you came to be aboard? Now that I think about it, the crewmen outside the cabin acted very strangely when we mentioned that. It was just after we asked him about when the occupant of this cabin came aboard. That is not your business. Yes, you're right. He did seem to be hiding something. An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage. Sorry, what? It is how the Russian newspaper described one of my performances. And that is how I came here too. I descended from the heavens because I am an angel. Considering English isn't your mother tongue, your description is very vivid. Mr. Sholmes once said, I never can resist the touch of the dramatic. It seems Miss Pavlova is the same. A genius descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to detection. Words once said about myself. A quote from a wonderfully extravagant advertisement from the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, in fact. Yes, Mr. Showy. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova is going to tell us what really happened. So the friend you mentioned inside your traveling case, is that right? I don't think animals are allowed on board, according to the rules of passage. Oh please, don't tell any of the crew. If they found my precious... Then the burly Russians would steer themselves in unison to throw you and your case overboard, no doubt. So reassuring, Mr. Sholmes. But what sort of pet is your friend? A little puppy? It is, isn't it? Maybe an adorable rabbit? A snake? A cat? Maybe there's no rats because the cat or snake is eating them? You two are miserable, you two are miserable bunglers when it comes to understanding the nature of young Ballerina's friends. Isn't it obvious? It must be a chicken. You got cock in there? Considering the benefits. A rousing wake-up call, daily fresh eggs, and when adversity strikes, it can satisfy the needs of sustenance. So you eat your friends. I'll remember that. Well, it would appear this friend's identity is closely guarded secret, not to be revealed. She obviously doesn't quite trust us yet. There's something I should like to show her, I think. Maybe it might be able to shed some light on it. She'd be able to shed some light on it. What are these last words? No? The speckled band? This is the diary of my friend who passed away. His diary? Yes, and he wrote in it last night before he died something a little unusual. It reads, at 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. And then a few minutes later, at 1:35, what looks like to be some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? I don't understand. It's strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentioned joins up with this cabin, you see. It's up there on the wall. In other words, this cabin and the victim's cabin are connected together. Oh! Miss Pavlova? Has something occurred to you? Does the speckled band the victim mentioned mean something to you? Or the whistling sound, perhaps? The cat's collar? No. I don't know anything. Oh. Excuse me, Mr. Roylet. Yes, what? Wow, she's fast. Captain would speak to you, would like to speak with you. You must come to Captain's quarters at once, please. All right, I will come now. What? You must leave, now. Oh no, it's fine. Don't mind us. Yes, please don't worry yourself, Mr. Roylet. Get out! The passenger said out, or do you want me to throw you out? Ugh. And so we lost our chance. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, we were unceremoniously chased out. That is to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown into the passageway outside. To be continued? Oh, this is perfect, because I need to stop anyway. Oh, that's fantastic. What an excellent stopping point. Woo! Okay, good. Okay, so I have to stop because I have to... Okay, well, there's two things I want to do. I wanted to play a little bit of Zenless before I went to bed because I want to try out this new mode. And I have to go to bed because I have to go to a family thing tomorrow. So let's just stop doing this. And then I'll do the Genshin event because I wanted the Zenless event because I wanted to do it on stream. Because apparently it's really hard. And if it's really hard, I'm really into it. So, whew. Okay. Ugh. All right. So, I am quite satisfied with what I'm playing. This is really good. I'm definitely not tired reading because that was what stopped me last time. I mean, I love Ace Attorney. You know this, right? I just didn't want to play it because it's a lot of reading. And I find reading to be exhausting. But that didn't feel too bad. Okay, let's switch over. That was good. Okay. New Zenless mode before bed. Okay. Zenless Zone 0. Here we go. All right. Well, not bad. That was really good. Okay. That was really fun. I really enjoyed that. That was good.